What's up, pontoon owners? Adam here with eTrailer, and today we're going to be taking a look at the SureShade Power Bimini top for your pontoon boats. You all know just as much as me, sometimes your skin gets a little too much sun and you want to get out of that sun, or it's just extremely hot and it'd be nice to take a break and sit in the shade. So having a top like this on your pontoon is going to keep everybody a lot more comfortable on the ride, so you can sit out there for hours and hours. We have a lot of different choices when it comes to colors. So right here we have the canvas gray. We're gonna have a lot of different colors, so if you wanted to match your seats or something like that, you can do that as well. It's gonna have an aluminum construction, and we can either choose from having just the silver, or if you have more of a black scheme going on in your boat, we also have the black framing as well. So you really get to pick it to really customize your rig. There's a couple things you're gonna have to make sure you have to be able to use this top. One, obviously you're just gonna need a pontoon boat, but it is gonna accept widths from 92 inches all the way to 102 inches. And the way to measure that is from the center of one bar to the center of the other. In the fully expanded position, we're gonna have about 10 foot of cover covering our heads, which is awesome. It's kind of sprinkling out right now, and I don't feel anything up around here, so that's always a plus. And it is kind of windy out, so if it is extremely windy, do not take this up because it will put a lot of strain on it, as it is such a big cover. But also, we do want to make sure that we do not exceed 25 miles an hour whenever we are in this position. My favorite part about this topper is that it's powered, so we really don't have to take a lot of time to get it all down. So you can see it now in the fully open position, but we can put it in the very pitch position, which is going to be back a little bit farther. It's going to be with the boot uninstalled, and once those are directly up like that, we can go ahead and just have this. If it maybe is towards the end of the day and the sun's kind of behind us, we can go ahead and just have it like this. I do not recommend that you go over 5 miles an hour with this, just because it is going to take a lot of that wind, as you can see here, and you might mess something up. But this is a nice position for later in the day or earlier in the day where you just want a little bit of shade. Now there's two more positions that we can use. So what I'm going to do now is put it all the way down so we can install the boot to get everything into one little secure area, and then we'll go over the other positions. The boot is going to be made of the same material as the cover, but it's also going to be the same color. They're both going to resist against those UV rays, and they're not going to fade over time, which is always awesome. It's pretty easy to install. You know, you just wrap it around. Goes around top and bottom. You go ahead and zip those closed, and then you go ahead and put that on there, and then we're ready to go. So when it's in the all the way down position, which whenever you're hitting the switch, it's going to go down and it will automatically stop whenever it is at the lowest point it can go. And at that point, with the boot installed, we can go up to 65 miles an hour. But I do recommend putting the boot on, because if we don't, they recommend about 5 miles an hour in this position without the boot. And whenever the boot is installed, we do have two different clips, one on each side. That's going to keep them just together to make sure they're not going to be clanking around and making any noise, and also just keeping it a little bit more compact so the wind doesn't catch it as much. And for the last position, it's going to be the radar position. So with the boot installed, you want to go ahead and flip the switch as it goes up. And this will just allow enough room for you to really get out. And as you can see, it stops on its own again. So this is going to allow us to go up to 50 miles an hour with the boot installed, which is always nice. We can get out the back of the boat and it's not going to be in our way. We are going to need to have a 12-volt power hookup for these, of course, but it comes with pretty much everything you need to get it all installed. One thing I was pretty impressed with is how fast it does it on its own. It's definitely a lot faster than a manual one. And with this one, all we need to do is use our finger to flip that switch to get it all up and ready to go. And I really do think that these are pretty fast motors. It doesn't take long at all, and they are heavy duty as well, so they're going to be able to do that just as well as they did the day you installed them. And between the canvas top being marine grade, it's not really going to fade or rip or anything over time, and the aluminum construction, I do think that this is going to last you a lot of seasons. The motors aren't really going to take up a whole lot of space. They're going to be about 18 inches in length, so that's how much rail space it's really going to take up, and it's only going to sit up about 2¼ inches from your rail, and then in the middle section it'll sit up about 5 1/8 inches from the top of the rail. As far as overall length goes, this all just depends on where you really want your cover to be. So one, for me, I wanted to be able to still be able to utilize this back here. So if you really wanted it to go a little bit farther back, you want to make sure it doesn't go over your motor or anything like that. But pretty much about 90 inches from the front of the motor to the very farthest point back is how long it's going to be. So you can really install it anywhere you want. Just make sure to follow the instructions and get it where you actually want it and where you can actually use it. Sum it all up, I really don't think that you're really utilizing your pontoon boat to its full capacity if you don't have a cover of some sorts. I remember going to the lake way back when and just seeing people out in the bare sun all day, and I didn't envy them just because I was pretty fried by the end of the day. And it's really nice just to have that shade, whether it's just from the sun or just privacy from other people. As you know, whenever you're going by, you always look in other people's boats to see what's going on. But with this, if we're in a cove or something, to have that nice privacy will be a plus in certain situations. So I definitely recommend, if you don't have any sort of shade on your pontoon boat, definitely grab it. We have a lot of different options for you here to match your style, but also if yours is looking a little bit more ratty or it's not powered, I definitely like the powered top because it is extremely quick and easy to get done, and it really does a whole lot for you. And that'll do it for a look at the SureShade Power Bimini top for your pontoon boats. And I'm Adam with eTrailer.